Hi, today we're going to be talking about collisions. Ugh. That was an example of a completely inelastic collision, but what is a collision? A collision is the instance of the transfer of momentum between objects. Now, there are 4 types of collisions that transfer kinetic energy in different ways. When there are no external forces such as friction or air resistance involved in the collision, momentum is always conserved in the system. That means that the momentum before the collision is the exact same as after the collision. The first type of collision we're going to be talking about is an elastic collision. An elastic collision is when the kinetic energy is conserved for the entire system. So one game I'm particularly good at is billiards. So Michael here is trying to beat me at pool. The kinetic energy he applies to the cue ball is transferred to the 8 ball immediately after the collision. Now the thing is, if you can hear the collision, it's not truly elastic. The only real elastic collision is an atomic collision. All the others are just estimates. The second type of collision is an inelastic one. A collision is inelastic when kinetic energy is not conserved. That is when the final kinetic energy is different from the initial kinetic energy. Most collisions we see today tend to be inelastic. When these 2 soccer balls are kicked at each other, they eventually come to a stop due to the friction between the grass and the ball. Therefore, the kinetic energy is not conserved, allowing us to identify this collision as inelastic. Remember when I almost died? I mentioned that was a completely inelastic collision. When a collision is completely inelastic, the momentum is conserved as usual, but the kinetic energy is not. It's easy to tell if a collision is completely inelastic because the 2 objects will collide and stick to each other. Now Michael and Bobby are 2 individuals without a care in the world, but little do they know they're about to experience a completely inelastic collision. Since Bobby is texting while driving, he doesn't see that Michael's car is at a halt. When they collide, the cars merge and move off as one. The last collision we're going to be talking about is recoil. In terms of physics, a recoil collision can also be known as an explosion. In this situation, the momentum of the system all adds up to 0. Just like my GPA. As you can see, the gun and bullet are going in opposite directions. When you calculate the momentum of the system, it turns out to be 0. And don't worry, it is not a real gun. We like to keep it safe here. And those are the 4 types of collisions. Now when you get in a car crash because of your poor driving skills, you'll know the physics behind it. Yeah!